everybody. I'm your host, Quarian, and welcome back to season 2 of the Up and Coming podcast. Thank you all for waiting so patiently. And you know, with the new season, we had to switch things up a bit. Last season, you heard from the fellas. This season, we're showing love to the ladies. Over the course of the next 5 episodes, you'll hear from women from varying industries and backgrounds to speak on their up and coming journeys. And what better place to start than in the birthplace of hip hop, home of the Yankees, and arguably the best chopped cheese in New York City. But we're not here to talk about any of that today. In fact, we're popping up on one of my longtime homegirls and one of the dopest creatives I know. Milnalis, Diese, aka By The Mill, is a social media marketer, sneaker designer, and entrepreneur. Her networking company C2C NYC launched last year after battling a rare eye condition that could have left her blind by the time she was 26. But through perseverance and a deep faith in God, Mina's visions, both physically and creatively, are better than ever. Today, we'll be discussing Mina's journey as both a first-generation immigrant and college grad, her deep faith in God, navigating through the industry as a dark-skinned Afro-Latina, her hustler spirit, and so much more. Today is actually the first time we'll be seeing each other in person in about 5 years. So without further ado, sit back, relax, and stay tuned for episode 6 of the Up and Coming podcast. What's going on, everybody? I'm your host, Quarian, and welcome to season 2 of the Up and Coming podcast. I'm here with a very special guest to the left of me.
Hi, guys.
What's going on? Yo, I ain't seen you in person in about 4 or 5 years.
Bro, it's been 4 years. We're old now.
I don't even know what to call you. I call you Mina, Mill, boss lady. What I got to refer to you as?
Bro, Mill. Bro, we're old, bro.
Yo, it's crazy.
Last time I saw you was graduation.
Yeah. It's been a crazy ride since then. Yeah.
Wow. That's so wild to me.
All right, so I was fortunate enough to be the first guy featured on your IG takeover, which I'm still honored. And it was only right I returned the favor and have you as the first lady to grace the up and coming platform. So Thank you for letting us film here. Thank you for letting me come here. Okay. And I made it a point to film here specifically. We could have went to a studio, but I had to come here and address. I can't even call it the elephant in the room because the room is the elephant.
We are in the elephant. We're on the elephant.
We are the elephant.
Yeah, bro.
Yo, Drew Barrymore redesigned your living room.
That's her chair.
I'm sitting in Drew Barrymore's.
Yeah, she gave us a lot of her stuff. Basically everything from her home line because she has like a furniture thing with Walmart. So yeah, she redesigned this.
How the hell does that happen?
I don't even know. They found my story somehow. They found it through News 12. Okay. So ironic.
Hey, News 12. Shout out News 12.
Covered me in the Bronx. And they found it, and then they were like, "We need to get in contact with this girl." So they found my number, and they called me, and they said, "Are you the blind girl that was on News 12?" I'm like, "What?" And I didn't know who was talking to me at the time. And then my bad. They said it was CBS, and then everything just the ball rolling, and it was a surprise. So I had no idea.
Right.
So they fooled me into thinking that I was like gonna go get training for designs because I'm into fashion. Right. So when I went into the studio, they actually had this laid out in the studio for me, like a prototype.
What? So when you went on TV, you didn't know up until that moment? Or?
I didn't know. My mom knew. They took my table.
That's crazy.
So they contacted my mom. They contacted my sisters. They came to my house at like 5 a.m. They took my table because we repurposed the same table since like a family heirloom. They took it and put it in the studio. And I woke up that morning at 6 a.m. to go to the studio. And I walked right out that door in my room through the hallway to go to the studio. And I didn't even notice my table was missing, bro. It was 6 a.m. And then I'm there and they surprised me. I'm like, "Oh, you guys did a great job." I said it on TV too. I was like, "You guys did a great job. This is just on my table." She was like, "Bro, it's your table." And I started dying.
Damn. Yeah. That's ill. That's ill. So now it's tradition on this show. Every guest that comes on gets a personalized gift. And I can't top Drew and what she was able to do for you, right? But I'm looking at the wall and everything is you. But I see something's missing and I'm glad I'm able to fill that void. You are a business owner.
Don't make me cry, bro.
You are an entrepreneur. I can't make no promises. I can't make no promises, yo.
Okay.
But listen, I know C2C is your baby. It's been a year now. So reached out to our sponsor, Bold Signs Miami. Got to pay some bills here, so let's do an ad right quick.
Commercial break.
Bold Signs Miami, who has got you covered with whatever you may need to make your business look and feel official. Located at 8309 Northwest 68th Street in Miami. Bold Signs specializes in bringing your logo to life in the form of glass prints, decals, exterior signs, and so much more. All you've got to do is upload a picture of your logo, and Bold Signs takes care of the rest. Be sure to check them out online at boldsignsmiami.com or on Instagram at Bold Signs for free shipping on your next order to let your sign speak for your business. So with that out the way, this is a gift from them that we customized for C2C.
No way!
And this is
so cool.
And this is your logo on a plaque, so you get to. I see some space on the wall.
Yeah, I put it right there.
Right. So this is that's for you, and it's easy and easily installable. So you're all good.
This is so pretty.
Yeah, I'm glad you like it. Yeah.
Let's do this. You didn't have to do
I
this.
had to, man.
No,
I had to.
This is so cool.
Yeah, you are your brand, man.
Oh my
You're your
God.
brand.
I'm still gonna like this. No.
That's free promo.
I'm gonna include you here. I don't know if it comes out in frame, but we're gonna keep you here. Merry Christmas.
Perfect. There we go.
Oh, this is so pretty. I love it. I'm gonna shout them out. I need to find this page.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank
for
you
sure.
so
I'm gonna
much.
definitely,
You didn't even have to.
of course. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's perfect. I was so surprised they got it down to a T too. That's your logo brought to life right
I'm
there.
gonna wait
So.
later to cry. I can't cry. No, too many people watching. No, but let's do it.
All right, so now this is the Up and Coming podcast where we focus on your up and coming journey. You're still in the middle of your up and coming journey, not where you at yet, but you're well on your way. Now you graduated from LIM College with a degree in fashion merchandising.
Mm-hmm.
But before you, the origins of your introduction to fashion started with your own mother, who you said was a designer in her own right, but couldn't pursue it the way she wanted because of real life responsibilities. Mm-hmm. How does it feel now to kind of be walking in a path that she walked in before, but wasn't able to actualize it, and now you get to do it, in what you're doing? Yeah,
it feels weird sometimes because I get all the time that me and my mom look exactly alike because we're the same. I'm just the dark skinned version of her. So it feels really, really weird. Sometimes I feel like, ew, like God couldn't give me another purpose. Like he gave me the same one you wanted. But it's funny too because it's like my mom, that's what she wanted to do. She just, like you mentioned, she couldn't afford it at all. So it was something that was never forced on me. Because what I find, especially in Caribbean like households, when the parents can't do something or when the parents want their kids to do something, they force it on them. So her, for example, she could have forced it on me, like to go to school for fashion, to do fashion, to design, put me in clubs and stuff because that's what she wanted to do, but she didn't have access to the education. But she didn't, and I feel like because she didn't, that's why I'm so involved in it. She would have forced me, I would have hated it.
Wow.
So yeah.
And you had her full support the whole way through once you decided.
I feel like it was a thing, like every time I mentioned something about fashion here and there was one time that I kind of deterred from fashion, and it was to be a veterinarian. I was 11.
Hold up. So, and what happened with nothing came of that? Or?
I have mad allergies, bro.
Yeah,
how am I gonna, how? Like, I'd be like I'd be sniffling, like, I'd be dying. So, I couldn't even, that was like a short-lived dream. But every time I feel like I mention anything of fashion growing up, my mom, in front of me, at least, because she's not, like, super, like, duper emotional, she would act very, like, okay, yeah, like, yeah, you could go for it. But I know she would be mad hype. Like, I know she would probably go and talk to her friends or my aunts and be like, oh my God, like, Mina and I, like, super hype. Yeah. But, like, now she, like, in my face, she wouldn't, like, show too much emotion, which was dope. And made me want to do it even more.
Yeah. So, and your mom, you're a first generation immigrant. So your mother immigrated over here from Dominican Republic. And one conversation in preparing for this episode that kept coming back to mind for me was the second episode we did on the podcast with my guy Radamez, and he's from the DR too. His family's from over there, and he's first generation immigrant as well. And one thing that he said that always stuck with me is
they have a fear-based mentality also, because that's like I always tell them, you didn't come to this country for me to play it safe because you couldn't fail. So the best thing you gave me was the opportunity to fail. And that's how, and that's true success.
They didn't come over here with the opportunities, like you mentioned, to do what they wanted to do, kind of had to settle to make a way for their life. And now you have the opportunity to try things and be the best that you can be. And, you have that freedom to fail. So how does that feel for you to now, like, have your hands in so many different things, and like one thing that doesn't work out, but I'm gonna jump to the next one?
It feels crazy. I feel like a guinea pig. I feel like, you know, like a little rat that they have in a cage, and they're just feeding mad different cheeses and figuring out what cheese works, what cheese don't.
That's
you
a
know?
great analogy. I like that.
I feel very much like a guinea pig, and the reason I do is because if I mess up, it's not like, no offense, I can go to my mom and have her talk to me about, like, you know, paying back loans, or like FAFSA when it came to applying to college, or like when it comes to LLC. Like, my mom doesn't know none of that. Yeah. So but I do have her support and I do have her love. But when it comes to all the stuff that's necessary, when it comes to having a business and doing things, like, she couldn't really like assist me. So whenever I did fail, and to this day I still do fail, I very much like kind of have to reach out to my mentors. I have to YouTube University it all. I have to like figure out how to get stuff done. And I feel like that kind of helps me be more independent in a way, or like to learn more, so then I could teach others. Because like when my kids are 8, they're gonna end up knowing what LLC is. Like, they're gonna know, you know, this how you do college. If you want to do college, you can do FAFSA. If you know, like, I feel like it's a different story for our generation as opposed to like my mom's.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And you bring up college, which is another thing that I wanted to touch on, because you prioritize school more than probably anybody that I know. And if anybody knows me,
I think back and I'm like, I look back. It's so funny that you mentioned that. 'Cause I was just talking about this 2 days ago to my sister. She called me a dweeb. Because I'm just like, if I would have gone back to college, like, let's say we rewind and I know everything that I know now, and I go back to Herkimer, I don't think I would be as successful, because if I go back, I was literally going to, like, I would wall out. I would go back to just get that college walling out experience. Because when I was in college, like, Quarry knows, like, bro, Kia knows, like, everybody knows, like, I lived in my dorm. It was with my dorm or with my ex. Like, I didn't go. Like, what did I do? Yeah,
nothing. That I prayed.
Yes,
that was about it. Yeah, that's legit, Bible study, like, and studying. That was it.
I was Bible studying in my dorm. Like, you know, and I'm not gonna lie, like, I don't regret it. Sometimes I wish, like, no, sometimes I think, like, what if? But I'd rather not have that experience and be where I'm at today than, like, been walling out in school and not focused and, you know, lost. So I'm very much like, but it's crazy because I ate books, bro. And I couldn't even see. So it was just weird. It was a weird flex. That's another reason why I wasn't really out, because I'm like, I'm not about to go to these parties. I can't really see. I legit can't see. There was no lights either in these parties. It's like, what I'm gonna do? Just stand in a corner? Like, yeah. Nah.
Yo, so you mentioned not being able to see, and that's how this baby C2C was born, and the idea and the foundation. You were diagnosed with a disease known as keratoconus. If I'm pronouncing that right.
You said it right.
So, which you could have been blind by the time you were 26.
Yes. Well, some people, for example, if you get it today, you could be completely blind tomorrow. Like, it picks and chooses. Only 200,000 people in the U.S. have that. And with me specifically, it was like from 16, every year my eyesight got 4 times worse. So imagine going to the eye doctor and they tell you, oh, this year you're 4 points worse. The next year you're 4 points worse. So it got like that. And then when I got to college, I was already like, I got it at 16 and I went to college at like 17, you know? So I'm just like, okay, so we're just gonna figure it out. And I was legally blind. It wasn't stigmatism. It was legit legally blind. Like, I have letters in my room on my mood board that says she shouldn't be in school. So they told me not to go to school. So it was very much then telling me, like, don't do something. I was like, I'm gonna do it.
I'm gonna defy it.
And that's exactly why I'm like, I'm so happy my mom never forced anything on me, because I would have violated. Like, I've always been like such a strong-minded child and person, so I would have done the complete opposite of whatever was told to me.
So when a doctor comes to you at 16 years old and tells you that you have the potential to be, what are the first things that go through your mind?
He didn't even say it like, I wish he would have said it like so articulate how you said it. This dumbass, sorry for whoever's listening, the doctor, he literally was like, oh, you shouldn't even go to college because you're going to be wasting your mother's money. Really? So those were the same exact words I was said to me. I left that eye doctor. I was by myself because my mom had to go to work, and I left that eye doctor crying. I was in a cab crying. I called my mom, and the first thing my mom says was, well, God already told you who you're gonna be and what you're gonna do. So now we just gotta trust him and let him do it. And I'm like, you're chatting. I literally told my mom, you're chatting. I'ma hang up. And I hung up, and I had the only attitude. But like now today, like days like this, I look back, I'm like, oh, she was right.
Yeah,
but it was very much like my mom just basically told me, yo, like, even though he said that, that's not like, you're still going to school and like you're still going to do what you got to do. And if God like put something in you, we're going to figure out how to take it out, even though you can't see. So it was a lot of that. But yeah, imagine being told that by a doctor. I'm like, you're supposed to support me.
Yeah,
like,
right.
They didn't give me no option, like
at
no
16
contacts.
Years old, right.
Yeah, they didn't tell me like don't get contacts.
You can't even wear contacts with it because your cornea's like
They told me
nuts.
no nothing. Like you fend for yourself and you can't even go to school. I'm like, okay.
Nah, yo. Okay, so you're here now, but what got you through that moment? I know we looking back on it, you were able to get the surgery, through creating a GoFundMe on blind faith, no pun intended.
Oh,
but you know what I mean, taking a walk. Yeah, like it's just like, yo.
I was like, I didn't even want to do that GoFundMe.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And it's not, it's not that you kind of feel embarrassed about it. You feel like, yo, should I do this or who's gonna give me money? But I mean, you have a crazy support system in the faith of God. But like,
I didn't even think that I had that.
Really?
I was like, yo. What?
Yeah.
Why am I doing this?
Yeah.
It was a lot. It was a lot of doubt.
And what got you through?
So what got me through, I'm gonna pin that question to like my college years first, and then to like even making the GoFundMe, because I let it. But what got me through going through college, being blind, legit sitting in the front, I couldn't see anything. Like I would sit in the front, teachers would be talking, I'd be front middle on my classes. I could not see. All my notes that I ever taken was audibly, like what I heard, and I would record. So on my phone, on my other phone, I have like voice lectures. Like I would voice record lectures and go to my dorm and rewrite what I couldn't catch. So people would think that I would be able to see PowerPoints, but I couldn't see nothing. Like, and I just played it off real cool. And what got me through that was I was so frustrated. Like I would go to my dorm. That's why I kind of never left my dorm too. I think everything is like connect. It's a full circle, because we touched on how I kind of never really had a social life in college.
Right. Same here. I was the same way.
Exactly. And the reason I didn't really have a social life is because I didn't want to like slip off. I had to go home and rewrite these notes that I needed to transcribe. And what got me through that was just a lot of praying. Like I don't mean to be super religious, but that's just me. Like I literally had to sit there. Imagine sitting there and begging God to help you understand these notes that you can't see.
Yeah. Right.
Like that's wild. Like, and it's not even like about a religious or the universe and all that. Like you genuinely want to succeed and you genuinely want to do well, but you can't because you can't see. So that my college years were a lot of frustration. Were a lot of me like just trying to push through that. And then fast forward to me making the GoFundMe, I didn't want to. I was still being super stubborn. But my best friend Diana, she was like, you need to do that. Like people will actually give you money. Like even if it's $100, people are gonna give you money. I'm like, girl, like nah, like let me see. Like I was gonna open up a whole credit card and just pay on it, pay the whole thing on a credit card myself. And I'm like, you know what? Let me do this. Whatever. Like let's see. I did it, and I'm like, whatever. Let's see. Until that point, the only people that knew about my eyesight, because we went to school. Nobody knew.
And I thought you wore glasses
and
like the rest
knew.
of us. I was
they
just like,
thought,
Mina, she wore glasses just like me and everybody else. Yeah.
So when I announced that I was legally blind, everybody was like, wait, what? Like, because you did everything. I'm
right.
I could not see nothing.
RA, part of every club,
student ambassador, fashion,
all of that. Graduated
club,
first in the class, which she never fails to mention to anybody.
Yeah, nigga, because I did. Period. I'm gonna put that on my grave.
I was up there too.
When I die, bro, put that on my grave, like, because that's my biggest accomplishment thus far.
Yeah. Take pride in it, man.
So yeah, it was just very much. Diana told me to do it, and I'm like, I don't want to, because till that point, I was just the girl that posted nice pictures on Instagram. Like I didn't want to let people in my life, but I learned that I had to, and by doing that, I got the money in 2 days, and I promise you, I didn't think that. I didn't think that I would, at all. I was like, yo, what? Like people really support me. I was like, like I knew people supported me, but then it hit me like, oh, like people really support me.
So did that give you the confidence, knowing how many people supported you with that, to launch C2C? Like,
it didn't give me the confidence. It gave me, that's not the word. It gave me, without that experience, this wouldn't be here. Right. So it's not really confidence. It's more so because people gave me something that I would never be able to pay them back for, which is my vision. this is in a way me paying them back till I die.
So and explain what C2C is for those who may not.
So C2C is stands for created to create, because I know that I was created to create, and it goes deeper than like art. Like I don't like when people tie creativity to art, because I feel like a lawyer is still creating something, a dentist is still creating something. Like it's deeper than that. So with my platform, I just highlight different people in different industries, and I want to amplify specifically people of color and minorities to connect with each other. I throw a lot of events, workshops, mentors. I do mentorship now, so I've expanded my just company to grow. So it's been a lot of that, and it's created to create, but it stands for C2C because I couldn't see. So it kind of plays in it, and without me being blind, I wouldn't have had this. This came because when I was in that position where I had to get my eyes done, I realized like, oh my God, like a sneaker that I design, or a shirt that I design, or a dress that I design is not what's going to help me like impact people's life. Like that is not going to help me be a vessel. What's going to help me be a vessel is the workshops that I throw, the events that I throw, like the how I connect with people on a day-to-day basis. And I have a lot of friends from right in this hood, the Bronx, that they're still doing the same things we did in high school, that see what I'm doing and see the people that I'm friends with. And when I throw events, the goal is to have them in the same either Zoom or room, or wherever we are right now. Because right now we stuck in the middle. But my goal is to put people from all industries in one room together and connect. Because I have a lot of people that are cool, like that work in higher ups now, and a lot of people that just work at a high school that want cool connections. So yeah. And
this initially started pre-COVID. This started as something that was meant to be a networking. Yeah, it was supposed to be networking events that you were supposed to host, but you had to pivot last minute. So how did that teach you about, just making adjustments on the fly? Your whole business model is kind of flipped upside down, and have you been able to have an in-person event yet? Or
my in-person event, I'm aiming for summer. Okay. Because now they give you the option to choose if you want to die. So since they're giving us the vaccine, so I'm hoping, I'm praying that things like open up a little. Yeah. And I definitely want to throw my in-person event. Because I'm a very in-person type of person. Yeah. Like, I mean, online, I'm trying to make it very casual. Like, I don't like being lecture style. Right. It's very much let's interact. You teach me, I teach you. But yeah, I want to do it in person. That has affected my business strategy insanely, because now I just had to amp up the Instagram game. I had to amp up.
And you posting every second day. On the second, helping other people post.
Yeah, my job is posting for other people. So I've been doing a lot of that. So it's just strategizing what we have right now, which is Instagram. Tomorrow it could be 100% TikTok. Yeah. It's just going with the flow, and it's gonna help me eventually, because like when I can throw an in-person event, I know that people are gonna pull up, like whether it's people that generally support me, whether it's people being nosy, but I know people are gonna come.
It's all the same at the end of the day.
Exactly, still winning, so it's fine. Like you're still in the room. So that's what it's meant for.
So you mentioned earlier, your strong faith, you're having a deep faith, and faith is kind of part of your brand, is who you are now. But it wasn't always like that for you. I remember even back in Herc, you were like, I never believed in it. I was borderline atheist. Like I
was atheist. You were atheist. Like I was there.
So
I was right next to Satan.
What changed that for you?
Yeah, I was there, bro. Yeah, like I lived there.
You said that you was like possessed at one time.
It was really bad. Like it was so bad. I didn't feel like it was bad. And I don't want to be take it there. No, but it's just the reason it was really bad is because again we talking about this. It's gonna connect. Everything makes sense. But when I was 16 and I was diagnosed with my eye disease, I questioned, because I grew up in church. So I grew up in church. I've been singing in church since I was 11. I still sing in church. I'm very much a worshiper, and I enjoy that. But when I was like 14, 15, I started having complications with my eyesight. So it was stigmatism. 16, I got diagnosed with that. I'm like, yo, that's wild. I got told that you're blind. So that impacted me insanely. And also, I didn't grow up with my father. Like my dad is there, he's alive. We're cool. Like there's no bad blood at all. Right. But I didn't grow up with him, and at that time I couldn't. Now I'm mature enough to like be like, yo, we're cool. Like I love that man. Right. At that time I wasn't. I was 16. So I could never wrap my head around God loving me the way that a father's supposed to love me if I don't have a dad.
Wow, that's deep. That's deep.
So I hated God.
That's deep. That's deep. Damn.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no,
I hated God,
yeah.
100%. And then with my vision, I'm like, God, how you, because the thing with me, and I know everybody's different, and some people probably hearing this gonna be like, that's cap. I'm like, don't worry, because when I'm a millionaire in like 5 years, you're gonna be like, wow, she said it on this podcast.
Yeah.
The thing with me is like since very young, I've had a ton of dreams. Like God speaks to me through dreams. Some people hear the heavens open. Yeah. Other people like like it's different. God speaks to me. He shows me things, and it's crazy how at a very, very, very young age, I would have dreams all the time about like me, my life. I would see myself speaking to people. Like I had dreams of me standing on a stage speaking to millions of people that have happened. Like I've been valedictorian. I've spoken to a lot of people, and I'm like, oh, like when the situations happen after, I'm like, oh, I saw this in my head a long time ago. Yeah. So that's one thing that affected me, and another thing that led me to atheism is because I'm like, I'm having all these dreams, and I couldn't tie it to God because I didn't really know who God was. At that time, God was my mom's God because my mom took me to church. He wasn't my God. Right. So I was just like, why am I seeing all these things and I can't even see in real life? Yeah. So you're showing me all these things to a girl who's legally blind. Yeah. Like you're showing me these dreams. You're showing me my success. You're showing me in these rooms, and I can't even see. And they just told me I can't even go to college. So it's not making sense. So I couldn't wrap my head around God loving me. I couldn't wrap my head around none of that. So I decided I didn't want to pivot straight into atheism. Yeah. It became atheism, but I didn't want to pivot to that. It was more so, let me back off and figure out what religion works for me. Yeah. But in that exploration, other stuff happened. But I studied Satanism. I studied Hinduism. I studied Buddhism. I promise, bro. Yeah. I opened the door to everything. Like I was like, you know what? And I even told my mom.
You have to.
I even told my mom. I looked at my mom at one point. I was like, you still expect me to go there and sing? And she was like, yeah. I'm like, all right. But she was like, until you're 18 in my house, you're going to have to. Yeah. I'm like, whatever. Okay, cool. So I did that. I would still be actively involved in our home church. Right. But I wasn't really there mentally. I was figuring out what was for me. Because I see all these people believe in different religions and do different things. And I'm like, how is this even true? Like, why do I believe in this? So a couple experiences happened that led me to believe in God, which one was a shootout that I was involved in that I shouldn't be involved in. Shootout happened. There was a Sweet 16. I was 17 years old. I went to one, and I snuck out my house. That's first to go to the Sweet 16. I was a girl that just went to church and school. So I snuck out my crib. I told my mom I was going to be at my friend's house, sleepover. I was outside wilding. And when I was outside wilding, the party was ending, and a shootout happened. And these people were between two gang members that were there. They had their boys outside waiting. So as we were leaving the party, I promise it was like 10 minutes left till they closed the venue. And that's when everything happened. So I'm thinking I got away. Yeah, and I'm like, yeet, you thought. Everything started falling. Like everybody started shooting. Everybody. Wow. And they were shooting at everybody. They were shooting at girls, guys. My friends, I have friends that are shot to this day. They're not dead. Nobody died. But my girls, they got grazed. Like, they shot at my girlfriends. Wow. I'm talking about girls. They got straight bullet holes, like, through them. Like, it's insane. But I didn't get touched. And it was weird because when everything happened, you're talking to a girl who never seen a gun in her life, my man. Right. I go to my dad's deli. I go home. I go to church. That's all I do. Right. I'm like, I was freaking out. But I walk outside and I'm like, this is 3 a.m, right in this neighborhood. I'm like, oh my God. So I literally look up with the only attitude, because my attitude is crazy. And I was like, God, no, I said, God, universe, whatever you are, this would be a great moment for you to prove yourself. I literally said it like that. And the moment I said that, no cap, like, I felt like a force field over me. Protected. Yes. Yeah. And I at one point I thought I got shot because they were aiming at me, like my direction. Because they were just aiming towards me. So I at one point I'm like, that's it. I'm shot. Like, I'm bleeding. Bro. Like, I look down and I'm like, oh, I'm not. Wow. And nothing touched me. And I promise you, if I wouldn't have said what I said, I wouldn't be here. Like, I know I would have got shot. Because a couple kids died that night, but it wasn't my friends. My girls got shot, though. Wow. Yeah, so it was very crazy. That was one experience. The second was just, and a lot of people don't go through stuff like this to end up believing in God. So I'm like, I know that it's a very case-by-case scenario. Yeah. But to me, like, that was like, all right. Like, I'm like, after that happened, I'm like, heard you. And to make the situation even creepier, so after that shootout happened, I was kind of like roaming. My girls had my phone. My girls had my wallet. My girls had everything. And they were bro, they were shot. I'm not gonna stay right next to them and get shot too. So I'm like walking around and a car pulls up on me, like a taxi. And I'm like, why is this, like, it's 3:30. Like, why, who's pulling up? I'm like, I didn't get shot, but I'm gonna get raped. Like, what was going through my mind was just like, damn, I'm just leaving this earth tonight. Like, you know? So when he pulls down the window, he's like, yo, get in. And it's a Spanish guy. He's an older Spanish guy, like 40 something, right? And I never seen this man in my life. And I'm like, what do you mean get in? He's like, get in, I'm gonna take you somewhere safe. I'm like, I don't have nothing on me. Like, I don't have a phone, I don't have a wallet, I have nothing. He's like, but get in and I'm gonna take you. And I was like, okay. And I got in this cab and he brought me home. Wow. And he didn't charge me. Wow. At all. And I never seen this man in my life. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm like, this is cool. This is crazy. So I got home. I thought I got away with it. I was fine, chilling, cooling. Like, yeah, that happened in November. Come January, my mom reiterated to me every single thing that happened the night that in November. And she told me that she knew. So I'm like, there's certain experiences that as much as you guys want to like be, you know, deny it or like say it doesn't exist, I'm like, there's no way, like, you know, that happens. And then the other experience was my eyes. Who would have thought that I would get that money and the amount of time that I did and how fast I got it? I'm just like, that's a prayer that it took me 6 years. Like, you don't understand how many times I asked God, yo, when are you going to give me my vision back? Like, I see all these people getting up from wheelchairs and, you know, doing all this. And I'm like, but I'm still here. So it was a lot of just looking, and he answered me through these experiences and also through jobs. And through opportunities and connections. So my walk with God has been very, very, very like different, because a lot of people, they start off in Christianity and end up in atheism. It's never been like
the other way around.
Reverse. So I kind of like that it's been that way, because I relate and I understand, and a lot of my friends don't really believe in God, and that's okay. Like, I don't force it down nobody's throat.
And that's one thing that I love about you, and I think this new wave of, like, you know, young Christians who are like, I think what plagued a lot of people before us is this holier than thou attitude. Like, oh, you're doing this, and then you turn around, they doing the same damn thing. You know what I mean? So, and everybody has those skeletons in their closet. You're somebody who's open about,
because it's so funny to me when people that believe in God are like trying to judge other people or trying to come at other people. I'm like, bro. And then when there's people that believe in God that try to come at me, for example, like, I've had a lot of people tell me, but if you believe in God, then why do you listen to? Or if you believe in God, then why do you dress like? Or if you believe in God, then why do you go to? Like, I am the type of person that is like, cool, I know what I do. When I know how I mess up. Like, we're not perfect. The only person that walked this earth that was perfect was Jesus. And I never want to be Jesus. But I know I aspire to be like him. That doesn't mean that I'm him. So I know I'm going to mess up. I know I'm going to stumble. And for me to say that every day I'm going to wake up and I'm going to be like 150% off for God, that's cap. Like, can't nobody do that. Not even Jesus could do that. Like, you know, I'm the type of person, I wake up, some days I'm 150% for God. Some days like on fire for God. Some days I'm -40 and I wake up with the spirit of Pop Smoke. But what I like about myself is that no matter what mood I'm on, like, I very much know that God is still 100% there for me. And he cares for me. So even when I'm not in the mood to talk to him and I don't want to have no type of communication and I'm wilding, I'm still very much aware that there's like some sort of protection over me. So I feel like that's like the realistic side of Christianity, that a lot of people are like, then why do you put a label on it? Like, I view myself non-denominational, which is more so I have a relationship with God.
And it's personal and it's
exactly.
spiritual.
It's me and him. And if you don't get it, you don't got to get it. Like, if you feel like I'm less Christian because I wear Jordans to church, then that's on you. Like, you're going to tell me that God of the universe is not going to move because I wear Jordan 4s to my church? Like, you're really going to tell me like the earth is going to stop because I'm wearing pants? What? Like, it makes no sense. So, yeah, that's me.
And you know, another thing about you, you know, I think social media kind of puts this guise on a lot of people where, you know, you kind of hide behind who you are on that platform. And on the outside, Mina has it all figured out. She knows everything. She has all the answers, right? She's well put together. But, and I know it isn't like that. And it always wasn't for you to like have that confidence and believe in yourself the way that you do. So how did you develop that and kind of build that in yourself to where it's at today?
It was very much blocking people out. I gained that growing up. I was bullied so much, whether it was for like my complexion or my skin tone or my accent. Nobody really understood what it was to be black and to speak Spanish. I was always too black to be Spanish and too Spanish to be black. So my life has been like the middle of like being black and being Spanish. No, like the Spanish people look at me and they're like, oh, but you're black. Then the black people look at me and be like, she's not one of us. So my confidence came through blocking people's opinions out and blocking everybody out completely, like muting people in real life. I would say I did that a lot. Starting with family, I feel like family has a huge influence on you, and I feel like a lot of us hold on to toxic ass family members that we don't need to. So it started off with that, blocking out a lot of my family's opinions. Because as long as I had my mom on my side, my family didn't believe in my career. Like a lot of them, they didn't really like that I was going to school for fashion. So when I said that I was going to go to school for fashion, everybody kind of questioned me, and they're like, is this even lucrative? Like, why are you even going to school for this? I'm like, okay, it makes no sense now, but it will. So I blocked that out. I blocked a lot of just a lot of guys' opinions, like guys that I'll be involved with that they see me. They know what was in me, but I don't think they wanted me to access that.
Insecurity, ego.
So I just blocked that out. A lot of just fake friends. I feel like the answer to finding yourself is just blocking everybody out, and it's a very hard season to go through, and it's very lonely.
And it's confusing
it's so confusing because you don't have anybody to bounce ideas off of.
And why is this happening?
You don't have anybody to ask.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's the moment. That's the perfect moment for you to find yourself, because when you don't really know who to ask, you're forced to ask yourself. You're forced to ask God. You're forced to just deal with it. Like, you're literally forced to deal with that. Be in the dark and figure out who you are. So I went through that. Like, I cut everybody off. And I tried to figure out, like, okay, so who am I now? And who am I? And I feel like people got to break the identity thing down by who am I and who do I want to be. It's not just a who am I. It's more so, yes, this is me, but who do I want to be for others? And I feel like by basing my question around who do I want to be for others, it's made me more accessible. It's made me realize that I genuinely want to help people. And to help people, I kind of gotta take time away to then get closer. Yeah.
And you mentioned something at the top of that, mentioning being too Spanish to be black, or being, too black to be Spanish. And I think so much, at least here, and I know Steph can attest to this too, is like being Haitian Dominican, and, that so much of the black experience is like limited to African Americans. And I think now the conversation is starting to broaden a little bit, where there's starting to be a little more inclusion. But, growing up as a Dominican, people hate anything that's synonymous with black. It's like, oh, she's not one of us. Or this Spanish dude is as dark as I am. It's like, I have no African blood.
They're darker than you. They look like charcoal. You're crazy.
And like deny their African ancestry.
They're black, bro.
Purple. Right.
Yeah.
How did you navigate that as a young kid? And I think even like being a guy at some point, even though like our complexion is weaponized for men and women, but it's weaponized to a degree. Once you reach a certain age, it's kind of revered and people accept it for, from a male's perspective.
It's not going anywhere.
Right. Or it's like, it's seen as something to cherish from a lot of other people. But with women, it's always been this, she's a girl, she's too dark, she grows up, she doesn't really accept herself because the world doesn't, and she never really ever finds that balance. For you, how was that kind of coming into your own of being a dark-skinned Latina, Afro-Latina, and not, trying to figure out everything else that's going around, around you?
Yikes. Damn. This is the question I said I was scared about. Like, I knew Q was coming with questions, bro. Like, I woke up today and I'm like, damn, bro, he's about to ask me so many. Wow, like, so many. I forgot I was with a real, journalist. I'm like, damn. But this, I would say, what's helped me find myself through that has been my mom. And
she's a lighter,
bro. My mom
woman.
is straight up Christopher Columbus.
Right.
My mom is straight up European. My mom is lighter than Kia, bro.
Yeah.
My mom is light. Like, my mom is white. Right. And the reason I say my mom, though, as white as she may be, is that so one thing that my mother always taught me, and I would say this, and some people probably are gonna look at me like, damn, you're crazy. you know, like probably like, damn, like your mom really said that to you.
Right.
But every single time that anything happened, good, bad, and any time that I had a meeting, let's say I had a job interview, I had a meeting, I had a whatever, like I'm talking about young, like I had to get anything done, my mom would look at me, she'd be like, remember, you are Black, you're a woman, and you're Latina. And I'm like, at first, I remember the first time she ever told me that, I was like 11. I'm like, what do you even mean? I was like 10, 11. I'm like, what do you mean? She was like, you're Black, you're a woman, and you're Latina. And like she repeated that to me about like 20 times. And like that one sentence. And I'm like, okay, like what are you trying to say? And she was like, because you're Black and because you're a woman and because you're Latina, that means you gotta work 3 times harder to get whatever it is that somebody has access to. When you're in certain rooms, they might not view you for your skin tone, but they're going to view you for the accent that comes out your mouth, because Spanish is your first language. In some rooms, they might not view you for your accent, but they're going to view you for your skin tone. In a lot of other rooms, they're not going to view you for not your skin or your accent, but they're going to view you because you're a woman. And because of one of those things, 2 of those things, or all 3 of those things, you're not going to be deemed as successful. My mom sat me down. She had that talk with me at, like, I was 10, 11. And she sat me down, and I'm like, and it hurt me. I'm not gonna lie. Like, the first time I ever heard those words come out my mom's mouth, I'm like, are you trying to say? Like, I literally blacked out my mouth. I was like, so you're trying to say that I'm not enough? You know, like, she was like, no, I'm telling you because you're. She was like, she's like, I'm telling you the reality of it, and you're more than enough. And because you're more than enough, you gotta understand that you're gonna have to work harder. Like, your friends that don't look like you don't have to do this. Your friends that don't sound like you don't have to do this. So I'm just like, damn, ma, like, you're right. So my whole life has been that. My mother has, like, instilled that in me. So whenever I have any presentations, or whenever you met me in school, like, whenever I did anything, I did it with that in mind, that I had to go 3 times as hard. And I feel like that's what's gotten me where I'm at now. Because I've never viewed it as we're on an even playing field. I viewed it as I'm already losing.
Right. Damn. Yeah. That's a hell of an answer. Yeah.
That's wild.
You talk about my questions. You got the answers.
That's
man.
wild though.
Yeah.
It's like, because my mom is just mad realistic. Like, again, she's light skinned. Like we mentioned, my dad is really, really dark. So my dad comes from Haitian descent. So we're Dominican, but we're Haitian. Like, my last name is French. So it's very much like.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, my last name is a whole French last name.
I think my dad told mine.
Yeah,
so
it is.
Colonization, man.
So but when it comes to this, it's just like realizing the world hates you. Figure out how to work around it.
Right. So what are some of the things that the Latinx community specifically can do to kind of be more accepting or do better, to accept all of who make up this Hispanic spectrum?
When it comes to, because one thing, damn, bro, I feel like I'm going to be answering this question not with you, but like forever. Like till I die, people are going to be like, okay, but like Latinos now, like, well, you know, like the spokesperson for them. I feel like the difference in our community, right, is that, I want to say this and I want to sound naive. So growing up, I grew up in a Spanish bubble. And I don't know how to, and to some people, they hear this and they're like, but you're Black, you had to like face it at some point. Nah. Like, you need to understand that when they raise us straight Spanish. Like, I started talking English when I was 5. Like, I did it, bro. What? Paid in Full who? Boys in the Hood who? I still haven't watched those movies. Like, would you Coming to America who? What?
Yeah,
like,
that's so interesting.
I didn't know what baked mac and cheese was till I went to college. Wow. And my Black boyfriend at the time made it for me. I never, like, there's a lot of things that I was never exposed to. So how am I supposed to know? Mind you, like we mentioned, I grew up church, home, my dad's bodega, home. I was never the type to play the block. I was never the type to be hanging out with my friends. Like, it was my house. So my house is the straight Dominican Republic. Like, Spanish music blasting. Like, my mom just talks to me in Spanish. Like, it was all that. So when it came to me going to school and me like leaving to college at such a young age, I feel like, thank God I went to school so young. I went to school at 17. I'm like, and I lived on my own at 17. And I'm like, oh my God, like, there's a whole, like, I always knew about like African Americans. I always knew about like these, these white girls. Like, I always knew. But I'm like, oh my God, like, this is a part of me that I never knew existed.
Right.
And I remember having a conversation with my mom, like, and when I was in Herkimer, in my dorm one night, I was like, Mom, like, it's hitting me that what you're saying is a fact.
Yeah.
And I noticed that, like, I knew that I was black. And when I was around people of color on campus, I kind of discovered different parts of myself that I didn't even know existed. Right. So it's a lot of that. It's a lot of unlearning to learn again. Because I didn't come from, like, one of those racist Dominican families. Like, my immediate household was never built on racism. My mom, like I just said, she taught me that I'm black. But there's only so much that she could teach me coming from a light-skinned woman. Like, she can't teach me certain things. Like, she doesn't know what it feels to be viewed the way that I'm viewed because of her skin tone. So it's very much like that. Like, I just have to learn and unlearn and learn from exactly expose myself. And when I realized that the world is already low-key like against me because of my, not even low-key, high-key at this point, against me because of my skin tone, I made it my mission to, like, I don't want to sound crazy, but I made it my mission to, I want black kids. Like, I made it my vision. I was like, I am going to have a black family and I'm going to learn more about myself and I'm going to expose my children in the future to, like, both. Because I was never until, like, I was an adult. I was 20 when I, like, 17, 18, 19, 20, like, when I started learning about myself.
Right.
Yeah.
Damn. Wow.
So imagine not knowing about yourself. So you look like this, Kwai, and you grew up like this, but you never knew that you was really black. It's not us being like naive, or it's not us being dumb. It's that it's never taught to us. How can they teach us something that they don't even know because they were colonized?
Right. Damn.
So when people come at Dominicans and they're like, Dominicans be like, I'm not black. I'm like, yeah. They're saying they're not black because of the lack of education, because their generation and then the other generation and the other generation, nobody was taught that we was black. So it comes from, like, just lack of education. Yeah. But when I learned it, I'm like, that's never leaving me. Like, I'm black. Like, it was this thing right here. Like, it's not leaving. Yeah.
Yo. So for you, and you mentioned being a woman in this industry and a very young woman, you're still 23 years old. How is it for you you're, in rooms with a lot of influential people, a lot of people, with a lot of power? How is it navigating those rooms for you as a young woman, like I mentioned?
Yeah.
Do you feel you're taken seriously? Do you feel you have to have a chip on your shoulder? You have to assert yourself a little more? What are you doing, when you're in these rooms and in these spaces?
I would say when I'm in these spaces, I'm just, again, I don't want to sound creepy, but I'm just myself. And I feel like maybe myself is what gets me into bigger rooms. And a prime example of being myself that I love and I'll always replay in my head was when I worked at KIF. I worked at a museum with Daniel Arsham that he had with KIF. Right. And they had me be in charge of the celebrities because celebrities don't faze me. Like, I don't care. You're human just like me. Right. We're gonna laugh, we're gonna hug, we're gonna smile. And I remember Tyra Banks coming in vividly. She's like crazy. She came in and they had me in charge of her and her team. And the first thing I did was I grabbed a paper and I was like, in my hand I have 2 cards. I promise to God, bro. I was like this with Tyra, bro. I was like, she didn't even know who I was. I didn't say hi to her. I just say, like, I promise, I didn't say nothing. I literally walked up to Shorty. She didn't even know who I was. She just saw my uniform. Right. So I'm like, she's like, okay, I guess she works here. I walked straight up to sis. I said, in my hand. Yo, what? When I did that, I did the whole spiel about, like, I was eliminating her off her show. She died of laughter. And she was like, yo, I love this girl. She's like, who is she? And it turns out to be that. I said, oh, I'm your tour guide. She was like, oh, this is so cool. Yeah. But I feel like that, like, just me being myself, like, I've never been intimidated by, like, anybody. Right. So when I'm in rooms, I don't feel like I have to go out my way to do backflips. I don't do backflips. I don't do cartwheels. Like, I'm in these rooms and I know that if I'm in this room, even though I'm the person with the least qualifications, I know I'm in this room because I have the most favor. So
that's a word.
So I'm in this room and I'm myself. And when I'm being myself around these people, around these celebrities, around these people that have like million, trillion followers, I'm just like, okay. Like, they see me doing my own thing. And because they see me doing my own thing and I'm not on their body, they want to be next to me. And I feel like that's how I've acquired so many of my friendships, so many of my like business partners, so many experiences in fashion, because I be chilling. I be in this room chilling. Like, you could walk past me and have 5 million followers on Instagram, and I don't even know you have 5 million followers on Instagram. If I love your shoes, I'll be like, oh my God, your sneakers are fire. Where are they from? And then you start telling me about your sneakers, and I'm like, oh my God, I love them. And then we start talking, and it turns out to be, oh damn, we're cool. Like, and then we stay cool, and I follow you on Instagram later on that night. You have 5 million and you still follow me back. So it's a lot of that. Like, my connections are genuine, and it's just, we vibe.
Right.
And that's it.
Right. So now you got some good news, and I hope it's some good news for everybody in this room. I'm a size 12 before.
No,
I go
yeah, facts.
Joey, what size you wear?
We're throwing the sizes out.
What size you wear? 11, Kia. I know you. 3.5. We good. So
period. Oh yeah, Kia. Yeah, we can secure Kia.
She got a small foot.
Kia's feet is easy, bro. It's easy.
Yo, congrats on securing a job as a sneaker designer at Converse. Yo. I wish I had a soundboard. I would like gunshot. The DJ. Yo, so again, you mentioned the authenticity, and I'm sure that's the reason you've acquired that job. But how did that come about for you? And how did that opportunity open itself for you?
I don't want to sound funny. I didn't even apply at all. If anything, I was dubbed. So last year I did a competition with Nike, because Converse is owned by Nike. Yeah, right. I'm just like, okay, cool. I guess we're the same company. So it's been a lot of like understanding that they're the same. I didn't know that prior to, but I actually was supposed to have I went to Nike to do a design program, and I was a semi-finalist. It was like for Serena Williams. She had like a design Columbine where she wanted, there was like over 600 applicants, and she picked 40 out of those 600 to be in like a competition. It was like a project runway in one day. Like one day we sat down and we did a ton of design briefs. Like they threw everything at us, and then from there they picked 10 only from like 2 days. Wow. It was like a 2-day competition. So with me, I didn't get selected. I was a semi-finalist, and I was just like, damn, like, okay, cool. So then, but they still liked my work so much that they said, we need to like just put you out there. I'm like, okay, cool. So this happened 2019. I give them my information, and they contact resume, and they contact Converse, and I send out my resume, and they wanted me to meet. So I go to the headquarters of Nike to meet with them. Why when I go to meet them, the person I'm supposed to meet with, this is back in 2019, is on a flight. So I'm dressed, I'm makeup done, eyebrows done, hair done, printed out my resume, my portfolio, and I'm like, nobody was there to greet me. So I was livid. So then fast forward to 13 months later. That's why I pride myself in timing. I say timing is everything. This apartment that y'all sitting in, that everything happened, I didn't apply for that. Like, everybody's favorite question is, oh my God, but how you out on the show? I'm like, they found me. Converse, they found me. I put it on my mood board. My mood board is somewhere in my closet. I put this on my mood board. Well, I was thinking about having a sneaker job last year. And I was like, yo, I really need a sneaker job. And I would pray all the time about it. Then this year, I went to Texas recently for a mood board event. And in the first week of January, I made my mood board, and it has a bunch of fashion labels. And I put, because I'm going to land a job in the sneaker industry. And I literally wrote that sentence down. And that same week, I got emails. I was emailing back and forth with Converse already, but we didn't like solidify any interviews. But they kind of reached out to me 13 months after they dubbed me, like 13 months. And they're like, oh, we have a position that we would love to, consider you for. I'm like, they said HR forwarded. I'm like, how did HR forward you my stuff 13 months after? I was like, I'd never applied to anything. But I wasn't going to say no. So I said, okay, beautiful. Let's figure this out. So I went through like 5 interviews. Like, it was a lot. I went through a couple interviews. Formal, informal, salary negotiation, meetings, stuff like that. And I ended up landing it, and I landed it, and I'm just like, damn, like, I really put this on my vision board. But it happened. And it happened like the first week of January. They was emailing me. We solidified interviews and stuff like that. First week of February, like 2 weeks ago, I got the news that I got hired. So it's pretty wild. I was just like, yo, this is crazy. So I'm just happy. I feel like I'm where I need to be right now, at least. I don't know if I'll be with this company forever. I don't know if from here I'll go to Nike.
It's a hell of a start.
I work at
Nike.
I work at Jordan. I don't know, but what I do know is that I want to be in the sneaker industry. That I feel is very like repressed for women. I feel like there's not a lot of women there. When sneakers don't even have a gender, so I feel like that's like hilarious when people hit us with that. So I love that I'm in this industry and I could like just build off of that. And if I end up doing social media for like a kid or advice or something, like, okay, cool, but at least I'm starting off here.
Right.
And it all ties into like all my other jobs, like doing social media. It's been a lot of like storytelling. So now being in product development, basically, because I'm a materials designer, so I pick the materials for the shoes. Right. So now being in it, that goes into storytelling. Like I have to pick why I'm picking this fabric, how much it costs, like why did I even decide to do this, mood boards. So it's a lot of that, and it ties into my Instagram and just how I like things to look nice. So it's cool.
That's dope as hell.
Yeah.
Yo. That is dope. Congrats once again.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. And you mentioned, representation and there being a lack of women. And that's one of the reasons I made a concerted effort to feature women all throughout this season. And one of the biggest, outside of the obvious, but one of the biggest reasons is like when we do things, we're so tied to our own experiences and perspectives. And it's like, you resort to what you know best. And what I know best is I have conversation with the guys. It's like having a conversation with the fellas. So having, have a girlfriend and have a mom and have a sister. So you have conversations with them. And one thing I noticed with like all the women is they have so much to offer, but when you don't allow them, we're not even going to say allow them, but when they're not put in the room to have their voices heard, you're only hearing one side of what could potentially be something life-changing.
And the problem is, it's not even that they're not allowing us in the rooms. I want to, like, not play devil's advocate, but we're going to go there. It's not even that they don't allow us in the room. I feel like a lot of times, sometimes they don't. Because, like, the term, like, build your own table, build your own chair. Yeah. Like, nah, sis. Like, you're not about the building. Like, chill. But when it comes to that, I feel like they let us in the room. But a lot of the females, when they're in the room, they're not focused on the opportunities. They're focused on the men. They're focused on the... My bad. If you're listening, sis, get it together. I feel like a lot of the women are focused on the men in the room. A lot of the women are focused on... networking in the room. A lot of the women are focused on making friends in the room, so making either friends with the men or friends with other women. But a lot of women, and I'm saying this specifically for a woman because I can say this because I'm a woman. Like, and now if this try to come out of your mouth, people are gonna come at you. But I can say that. Like, I've been in many rooms with many women that don't seize the day and don't seize the opportunity. There's literally a multi-million-dollar opportunity waiting for you, but you're just worried about posing for Instagram and bagging this dude and sliding his DM. I've been in plenty events, plenty rooms, plenty things that I'm just like, we could be doing so much more. So again, I have seen it from my own eyes, and I've prided myself in, like, when I'm in these rooms, before I even go into these rooms, I kind of already know what I want. And I don't be on anybody. I just position myself to attract it. If I know that I want to have a conversation with somebody that's on the HR team because HR is going to lead me to getting a job with them, I sit close. I'm not scoping nobody. I'm not on nobody's body, but I sit close and they notice me and they talk to me, and then that's how everything starts. So I feel like it's a lot of being in these rooms and taking advantage. Don't worry about whoever else is in the room, because then the people that are not focused on other people, like the girls who aren't focused on other people or other men or whatever, they're in these rooms and they're doubting what they have. So it's like you're not focused on others, but you're doubting that you even belong in that room. So it's like if you're doubting that you even belong in that room, that's going to radiate when you're in that room. And people see it and they're not going to want to be attracted to you, to offer you any opportunities.
That's real.
Yeah.
That's real.
Yeah.
All right, so just to get off the serious topics for me.
I'm sorry.
No. I know we've been digging deep.
It's okay.
You are a super fun, outgoing person.
Yeah.
And one thing that I love about you is you're totally unfiltered. You
say
what
I don't care.
You say what's on your mind. You're very open about your relationship status.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And
to the streets.
So.
I'm so sorry.
So
fully.
So all right. Okay. For a woman who is steadfast on her mission, don't have time for no bullshit, and just wants to get where she wants to go.
You read my caption yesterday? You did.
Nah, I didn't.
I'm not gonna lie. Ever since Quarry told me he wanted to have me on this podcast, guys, I was shaking in my boots. I knew this. I was shaking in my boots, and I'm like, damn, he's about to take all my captions and like be like, let me ask her this.
I'm not gonna lie. I have some here, but that wasn't.
You see,
that one wasn't.
Hi.
Yeah,
it's cool, but the day before yesterday, I wrote a caption about loving yourself.
Yeah.
And belonging to the streets, respectfully.
All right, so Look, for a woman who is as focused and driven as you are, guys can't come with the same half-assed energy they would.
They pull up though.
So okay, but what is the proper way for somebody to pull up on Mina in her DMs? You can't say, you know, what's up. It gotta be. You got a mic right in front of you.
Okay. So, actually, let me use my glasses. So, what's the proper way to pull up on me?
What's the proper way? I'm trying to give somebody free game out there who might be watching this.
Yeah, you got a lot of fire friends. Holla at me.
Yo,
holla at me. Nah, but yo, okay, this is what he was saying about like unfiltered. So, I can't even take myself seriously, guys. Okay, yo, I don't think there's a proper way to pull up on me. Like, and the reason I'm saying I don't think there's a proper way because I'm very chill. Like, I don't like it when guys are like they pull up on me and they're kind of like super egotistical or like, and it kind of, that's what kind of comes with dealing with athletes. They're just here. And I'm just like, I'm here. Don't play me because I'll volley you. So I don't really know what the proper vetting process would be.
Okay, what's the way what shouldn't you do?
You shouldn't. I just feel like a lot of guys, when they approach me on some demon time. And it's like, bro, I'm not even there no more. Like, I left that season. Like, my life is close to that right now. Like, you get me? Like, when guys approach me, they just approach me crazy sometimes. And I'm like, you really think I'm like that? Like, we're not doing that right now. You know, and I'm very much about my business, like you mentioned. So it's not like you gotta sit there and send me a Zoom link and, you know, like we're gonna sit here, we're gonna go, like, I'm gonna interview you. Like, it's not that. It's very much, I feel that because I am in charge of everything in my life when it comes to my business, to my job now, to... Because, yes, I have, like, my company, which is C2C. And, yes, I have my job, which is now with Converse. But I also have another job, which is running people's Instagrams. Right. So, I when I run these people's Instagrams, I'm incorporated with their team. So, when it comes to my personal life, you know, my love life, that I like that you mentioned, because I am open. Like, I don't care when it comes to that. I don't want somebody that I have to run as well. So, that's my biggest thing. And I think that's why I've been single for so long. Is because when it comes to dating and courting and being in a relationship, if I already have to manage everything and have to run everything for everybody, the last thing I want to do is come home and manage my nigga. So I'm not about to check your phone. I'm not about to check passwords. I don't care about none of that. I don't care about DMs. I don't care about likes. I don't care about comments. So it's like that's the reason why, like, I feel like I'm single, because when I'm talking to guys or when I'm trying to take guys seriously, their biggest thing is like, but you don't care. I'm like, it's not that I don't care. It's that I'm worried about responding to emails at 3 in the morning. Right. I have to be up at 4 because I have clients in India that need me to post for them. Right. So the last thing I'm worried about is if a girl from your high school commented on your picture, heart eyes. Okay, I'm next to you. Like, I don't care about none of that. And I feel like our generation has it so messed up because, again, I'm young. Like, the guys that are at my age, like in our age bracket, they like that toxicity. I feel like it's been glorified to be toxic. Like, it's been glorified to just argue all day and do all this. And it's like, that's not the type of timing I'm on. I'm very much, I'm trying to get stuff done. So you need to respect that, because I'm going to respect that you're trying to get stuff done. Right. And when we're together, it's great. And, you know, we vibing. But I'm trying to have a man. I'm not trying to have a son. So that's the main reason why it's not. Streets, I'm very open to the streets, but right now they're closed. Like the sidewalks. You just pull up on the sidewalk and then we figure it out.
Yo, oh my gosh.
Pull up on the sidewalk and then we figure out, like, if you're not gonna stress me, like, a lot of these men are walking Justin LeBoy's accounts. Like they live that. Like, I don't want that.
Right. That's real.
No.
That's real.
I'm good, bro. I'd rather make this money and then, you know, either be the rich auntie or find somebody that Michael B. Jordan, and that's it. Yo, he's on my mood board too. No cap. Yo, I wish I had my mood board. He's there. He was the only black guy found in the magazine.
So how you gonna get him from Lori?
I can't take him, so it's fine. I'm just gonna let sis have him. She could have that. But I definitely put him in my mood board, and I said, manifesting a God-fearing man that's preferably black. It has to be black because I'm not dating anybody else. Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry, guys.
Oh, man. All right. So whenever I get the chance to talk to you, one of the things that I like, just with this conversation here, like the Bronx is ingrained in you. It's not going anywhere. Go. No, but I love it though, because it's who you are. It really is part of who you are. And I think, so much of the identity of the Bronx is like one of the last boroughs to really go through a big transformation with gentrification.
We need to.
You think so?
I don't. Okay, sorry. Dykes, don't come for me, Bronx people. I don't feel like I feel like we need to, but with that, like a steady process. Like I feel like the Bronx is like the forgotten. That's why so many people talk so much crap about the Bronx, because it's like, of course, we're not gonna have like fancy little brownstones like I be having in Brooklyn, because it's not being fixed. Like nobody's coming, nobody's caring.
Yeah, right.
So I feel like if it was to, if money was to be invested back into the Bronx, area that's really really good in the Bronx right now. Well, I'm not saying good like you're not gonna get murked, because you can get murked anywhere. I mean good like the buildings look beautiful. Is like by Harlem. So like 138th, 139th Bronx, like that right around there, everything is being like torn down and built up, and it's like lofts, and it's really beautiful. But I feel like just if more money was invested back, which is another reason why we becoming a millionaire, is because I'm trying to blow bags on my community, because nobody else is. Yeah. Like nobody else is. And I just want to see us do better. And yeah, the Bronx isn't great. I wish it would. Like sometimes I'll be in these board meetings with like 59-year-old Steve Jobs, they're supposed to take direction from me, and I'm like, all right, bro, like this is me, like corporate. I'm just like, okay, like keep that same energy, and then, like I'm trying to figure out how to like say keep that same energy very professional, or like in my emails I'll be like per my last email, and I know niggas hate that, right? But it's just finding that balance. So I'm working on like code switching. But don't play with me because I'm not pussy.
You gotta keep part of it in you.
Don't play with me.
You have to keep part of that in you. Yeah. So when you look at where you want to be in 5 years, I think a lot of especially like what I do. You have people who motivate you, people who inspire you, people you look at in the industry who kind of you want to not necessarily mimic, but kind of emulate some of the same things they do. Yeah. For you, who is that person? I'll tell you who comes to mind. Who you think?
I feel like we're gonna say the same person. Go.
3, 2, 1. Karen Civil.
She's fire.
She is fire. That's who I think of. Who's you gonna say?
Rihanna. But not for music.
Okay.
Well, my top 3. I'll do my top 3.
Okay, top 3.
My top 3, because I like that question. I always get that question. And I'm like, but the typical, everybody is like, oh my God, Rihanna. And I'm like, it's not because of that though. Like, it's not the music. It's not none of that. It's more so the fact that she's so involved into so many other things. Like, Rihanna has a lingerie line. She has clothes. She has sneakers. She does makeup. She does music. So it's that. My other top 2 would be, I really enjoy the way Oprah has made a career for herself. Like she's had, like you've seen her grow. Like she started in TV so young. So that's another person that I look at and I'm like, oh my God, like that's insane. And then one more I would say that I just enjoy and I could see a lot of myself in is Scotty Beam. And that's like very.
I love Scotty.
I see a lot of myself in her, and the reason I do is because I just feel like she defines like being successful but not changing. I feel like she keeps her hoodness. Like she keeps her authenticity. She does what she has to do. So I really much enjoy that.
I had you here for over an hour. And one thing, we got to end on a light note because we covered some heavy topics today. 2 things I want to do because we're in the Bronx. I love the Bronx. A lot of my family's down here. I want to play a little trivia game here. And 2 questions. Yeah. You're not from the Bronx if... Oh. ... And my favorite thing to do in the Bronx is ...
Oh my God. Damn, there's not much to do out here. Let's talk about it.
You're not from the Bronx if...
You don't eat chopped cheese for breakfast.
That's why we had to go get one at the start of the show. For breakfast?
I be dogging them for breakfast. That's a whole dinner. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, if you don't eat chopped cheeses, I feel like chopped cheeses is very much uptown, like Bronx, Harlem.
Yeah, it's a staple.
When I say chopped cheese in Brooklyn, people look at me like I'm crazy. I say that in Queens, like people from the area be like, what?
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah. And okay, and your favorite thing to do in the Bronx is?
My favorite thing to do in the Bronx is Go to Bay Plaza. It's so weird, but I like going there because it's like, I feel like I'm not in the Bronx because of the mall and you know how the mall is set up.
Right.
But then when I'm in the mall and I see the people, I'm like, oh, I'm in the Bronx. So I like that's my favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
Go, people watch.
Okay.
Well, when I go shopping, I be like, damn, you're moving wicked. Like,
Yeah.
You're moving wicked out here. So yeah.
Yeah. All right. And just to close it out, what is next for Milnalis? Where do you see yourself going? What's the next step for you in your journey?
What's next for me, I would say, is just figuring out how to expand C2C more. I see myself just continuing to work in this, sneaker industry, footwear industry, and dropping a sneaker. So I really that's happening. I don't know when, but I want to drop a sneaker.
I need the first pair.
Yeah, of course.
I'm dead serious.
I know. You, Kia,
all right, for sure.
Keep to my house. It's official. You have to.
Yo, thank you so much for letting us come through and kick it. Of course.
Coming.
Where can people find Mina? Where can they find C2C? How can they stay connected to you?
So, you can follow me at By the Mill.
Yes.
So BY.
I'll put that big on the screen.
And then at c2c.nyc.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. There we go. And that is officially a wrap for episode 6. We did it. Thank you so much. The first woman, first of 5, and of course, first of many, but first of 5 for this season. So stay tuned for the next episode, which should be dropping soon. Definitely subscribe so you'll know when, and follow us on Instagram at the Up and Coming Podcast _, which you should already be doing because you've been watching for this long. So
yeah, I'm not gonna lie, if you don't subscribe.
I'm saying, what's the point?
Bobby came out. You have to.
Exactly. But Smurda came out, gotta subscribe. It's one of the same. It makes sense.
It makes sense.
All right, we out.
All right, bye guys.